Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. So we've got something a little bit different for you today. You might have seen in a previous video, I've got some free food, some hazelnuts, and I was roasting those off as a bit of a snack. Thought I'd do something a little bit different today. So we've got our hazelnuts, we've got some sugar, some coconut oil, and some cocoa. And we're going to make something that I think you might like. Certainly if you've got kids, they might like. And can you guess what it is yet? Let's find out. Okay, so following on from the theme of the free food, and in particular the hazelnuts, I thought I'd share something today which you might like. I'm going to make some chocolate hazelnut spread. If you get it in the supermarket, most common one I guess is Nutella, but lots of supermarkets do their own. And I thought since I've got an abundance of hazelnuts, I'd give it a go. So the only ingredients really that you need are your hazelnuts, which clearly you're going to have to shell and then roast off. In addition to that, you need some sugar. I've actually used just ordinary household sugar, but what I've done to make it a bit finer in consistency when it comes into the final spread, I've just used a coffee grinder to grind the granulated sugar down into a bit more of a finer powder. So there's 2/3 of a cup of sugar. You're going to need some coconut oil, two tablespoons of that, and then you're just going to need some cocoa powder, and I've already measured out 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. So that's the ingredients that we're going to need. What I'm going to have to do now is crack open these hazelnut shells, because I need 2 cups of the actual nut itself. So I'll break these down and measure out 2 cups. All I'm doing for that, because I don't actually have any nut crackers, I'm just using these grips as you saw me do in the previous video. So it's literally, I'll spend the next 5 minutes or so chipping away at these to break them open and to actually get the hazelnut itself out. As you can see, it has got that yellowy grey kind of skin on it, and I'll tell you what to do with that in a minute. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time now cracking these open to get the nuts out, and I'm sure that you don't want to see me spend ages doing that, so I'll quickly pause the video and come back once I've got my 2 cups of the actual nuts. Whilst you're doing this, and you can see that I'm well on my way to getting my 2 cups, be selective with the nuts that you're going to use. When you break these shells open, in some of them you will find that the nut has withered inside the shell, as it has on that one and on that one. So do be selective. You want to get nice, clean, firm looking nuts. Put anything in there that's not up to the standard. It's only going to spoil the overall taste of your finished product. So be selective as you're going through. It's time consuming, but it is quite therapeutic, and I'll carry on with these now and come back to you in a few minutes. Well, that's the first cup done. As you can see, I am being quite generous with the measurement of the cup. It's the hazelnut flavour that I'm particularly interested in, rather than the sugar or the cocoa. When you're breaking these open, do be careful, because these shells, as they crack, they do get very, very sharp edges on them, so be careful with that. And also be careful when you're peeling the shell away from the nut, just to make sure that you have actually got all of the shell away from the bottom of the nut, because sometimes little pieces do stick to the nut. Anyway, so that's the first cup done. I'm going to carry on, do the second cup, and I'll see you in a bit. So we're down to the last one, and we've got our 2 cups worth of hazelnuts. So there we go. All I'm going to do now, get this out of the way, you can see there's quite a lot of nuts involved. I'm guessing there's a good 100, and I probably shelled another 20, 25 that weren't any good. They were withered inside. So perseverance, it will be worth it in the end. I've got to take my hat off to the squirrel population who managed to break into these without the aid of a wrench, just so they can get a meal. We're just going to simply pop these onto this baking tray, spread them out a little bit. Perfect fit. And we'll just pop those into the oven. The oven is on 175, I think that works out at 350 Fahrenheit, but have a little check and see. And we're going to pop those into the oven for between 10 and 15 minutes until these skins start to crack open and the nuts are completely dried out. So I'll quickly do that now. The oven's already preheated, and we'll come back to those in a bit. So the hazelnuts have been in the oven for about 13, coming up 14 minutes. I'm just going to quickly pull them out and take a quick look. Be careful because this is very hot. And yeah, they're a nice dark brown colour. I think I'll leave those as they are, and I'll just give them a few minutes to cool down a little bit so that I can handle the nuts themselves. I don't want them to cool down too much because I need to get those skins off, so we'll come back to those in a second or two. I just left these for a couple of minutes to cool down. They're still warm to the touch, which we need them to be to get the skins off these. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can use cotton towels as I have here, or you can use paper towels. You can just level them out onto the towel, put another towel on top, and then just rub them. You can probably hear that actually, the skin's cracking. Alternatively, what you can do is you can gather them up into a little bag and then scrunch them up inside. Now I'll just do this for a couple of minutes and try and get as much of the skin off as I can. There will be some of them will be a bit more stubborn than others, so we'll just give them a couple of minutes and we'll take a little look inside and see what's happened. You can see there's skins have come off, pretty much all of those. There's the odd one or two that have got a little bit of skin left on. Have a sort through and just watch out for some of the ones that might not be very good. There's one here that's broken open. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but the inside is actually brown, the inside of the nut. Clearly there's something wrong with that one. Maybe it was a little bit rotten in the middle. But these look actually to be pretty much cleaned. There's the odd one with a little bit of skin left on, I'm not going to worry too much about that as long as the nut itself is sound. That one, I'll just rub the skin off with my fingers. And same with that one. Well, the joys of live YouTube video making. I just went to check the camera, had to put it on pause, and realised that I've got a flat battery. So I've just had a frantic couple of minutes running around trying to plug the charger in. Clearly this isn't where we left off. I gathered all the nuts out of the tea towel and popped them into the food processor, and I was busy telling you how, rather than watch this blend for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I'd just pause the video, which is when I found out that I wasn't actually recording and the battery was dead. So apologies for that. As I say, it is live, at least it proves it is live and I'm not messing about editing. So all I've literally done is chucked the nuts into this processor. I've pulsed them a few times and I was just about to launch it onto full power for 5 to 6 minutes to get this fully blended down when I realised what I'd done. So I'll do that now. I'll put it on to blend. I will stop from time to time just to scrape down the inside of the blending jug just to make sure everything is mixed together properly, and then we'll try to continue with business as usual. Just persevere with this, because when you start off, for the first few minutes, you'll look at it and you'll think, my God, this is never going to turn into a liquid. But believe me, I don't know if you can see that, it does start to turn into a liquid. All you have to do is just every so often, 20-30 seconds for the first few minutes, just keep lifting the lid, stir it around a little bit, move it about, but persevere with it, because I assure you, you will look at it and think, oh my God, it's never going to liquefy. It will, it just needs that little bit of time, so just keep persevering with it. Okay, we've given that about 6 minutes. It's probably slightly longer because you keep stopping every so often to move everything around, but that now is actually quite liquid. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our coconut oil. Clearly this is a solid rather than a liquid. So 2 tablespoons of that. All I did was quite simply scooped it out of the jar and popped it into this glass. The oven's been on roasting the hazelnuts, so I just popped the glass into the oven and here presto, it's now melted. So we'll put our 2 tablespoons into there. It's actually probably slightly over, but to be honest, I'm not going to worry too much about that. And we're just going to blend that for another minute. And get it all mixed nicely through. Given that another minute, you can see now that it is definitely nice and liquefied. So what we're going to do now is add our cocoa powder. Just pour that straight in. And our sugar. Pop the lid back on and just give it another minute or two to blend. Just pulse that for a second. Get everything mixed in and then on the go. Okay, that's all blended together nicely. All we have to do now is to get it into a suitable jar, which I guarantee is going to be easier said than done. Right, the moment of truth. Can I get this into that jar without it going everywhere? The answer seems to be yes. I'll just scrape round the edges to get everything out. Now then, is this going to go without going all over the kitchen counter? There we go. So, there is our chocolate hazelnut spread. It is quite liquid at this stage because it is still quite warm. The, the nuts were clearly warm, and the actual blending process and of course the hot coconut oil means that it's quite liquid at the moment, but that will gradually cool down. And then I guess at some time this evening, once I've got some bread baked, I'll probably test that out on a nice piece of bread. But for now, there we go, chocolate hazelnut spread, homemade. Well, I baked some bread this afternoon after I'd done the chocolate hazelnut spread. It should be cool enough now to at least give it a test. We'll see how it is. Just pop that on there. Proof of the pudding is in the eating, so they say. So let's give it a little test. You can see that that's now not as liquid as it was when I finished it earlier. It's been in the fridge and cooled down. So spread that over. and we'll give it a little test. There we go. Fresh bread and fresh chocolate hazelnut spread. Enjoy. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you found something in there that was of use to you. If you did like the video, then please do click on the like button. Also, feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Have you collected wild food? And if so, what was it and what did you do with it? Let me know in the comment section below. But for now, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.